So I would like to introduce you to PhantasmCV. Now, this is an interesting one in terms of just how much money was spent on this account within... I would say this is a 100-hour account, 100 to 200-hour account, just based on his record. 500 battles, so brand new, level 52. So, okay, that's interesting. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 premiums, all around $60. So, not including sales, that's a $360 account that has spent less than 100 hours-ish on this game, because based on math. Because the math, unfortunately, on these doesn't exactly add up with how many finished missions that I would think. So, I'm going to say it's about 100 hours account. So, it's a 100-hour account that is spent already like $350 to $400, depending on conversion rates. Cat, can you move? Yeah, I know. Get out. Yeah, man. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. So the general thing of this is, okay, that was a pretty easy shot to see. That makes perfect sense. I could have seen him. I don't understand why you would pop smoke like that and then stop. But his behavior in general is just that of complete nonsense when it comes to playing like this. Brand new account, you are very good in your record clearly, and you are shooting through all manner of smoke and debris and whatnot. So this is the, this first, you could say, oh, those first shots weren't that bad. That makes possibly some sense. You can't explain stuff like this. There was no marker on the player, there was no chevron, there was no scout, nothing like that, and he shoots center mass of the target after moving, then popping smoke. Now, you can see the player right here. That's completely fine. I can completely understand stuff like that. There's just, in the general sense of looking for a player on suspicion, there's certain things that do not make sense when it comes to a player doing certain things. Now, granted, more subtle players can get away with this a lot longer because, unfortunately, Gaijin still hasn't detected their cheats yet and will have a hard time doing that with just EAC alone, considering EAC is pretty garbage. The person I've been talking to in my comment section regarding cheating has told me that most of the cheaters that they're doing nowadays use an external hard drive or an external USB to load their cheats on, and it's very hard for even modernized cheats or even kernel-level cheats to detect stuff like that. So, in that sense, Gaijin has to manually do all these things and eventually get away with it. The problem is, like, they're still not getting away with, they're still not being more attentive to the people that have been openly blatant. The guy in Semtex recently that got banned after he got kicked from Semtex was only banned after he had been in their clan for 2 months, and who knows how long he'd been cheating for. So, in that manner, Gaijin still isn't, frankly, paying attention to the problem at hand of actually having a proper anti-cheat that properly works. If they ever do that, that would be great. But I don't think Gaijin ever will, because we already know how bad EAC's performance was caused for this game, and realizing that this game already had major issues going out, and yet they still haven't dealt with the current problems at hand. And now we're about to get a new new patch, and yet they still haven't fixed the major issues at hand from this. So, the only upside about new patch days that I like is that new patch days, the first 24, 48 hours, tend to be cheater-free. And that's a good thing because we don't like cheaters in the game. I will still say, based on conversations I've had, I do not still believe there is a large chunk of cheaters in this game. I do get a lot of comments of people that are cheating and whatnot and stuff like that. But I would say 50% of my comments are people essentially getting outplayed or outskilled, which, to be honest, is not a bad thing. And those players will not know what they're looking at or how to play or whatnot, and, you know, sort of. But the thing is, you have to remember that sound is a big thing in this game. One of the comments I looked at recently was a player who accused a player of cheating. Granted, that was very viable. But he forgot that this player was... So the only reason why he would have known he was there is because he shot his gun. Now, granted, engine sounds are around 0.2 to 0.4 kilometers based on what engine is being used. So German, turbine, whatever engines are being used. The other thing people forget is that gun sounds, while they're not perfect. I know sometimes rocket or gun sounds that appear outside the map, even though they're technically not there. Gun sounds tend to appear, so like the VDAR, for instance, you can hear the VDAR's gun from like a kilometer away, and it's very like you'll notice the sound off your left or right ear if you have a good enough headset. So remember that sound is a very big key indicator in this game that people tend to forget, and I don't think they're really remembering that unless you really do know what you're doing and know what to look for, sound is definitely going to be the biggest problem that you will deal with if you do not have a good headset. So I will recommend anyone that plays this game to buy a decent gaming headset, even not a decent gaming, just a decent spatial headset that you can hear stuff around you. My headset is like $140. It's not a gaming headset. It's not a, I use the Dolby Atmos, so sound is very good in the game. The problem is Gaijin still has sound issues that they still have not resolved in like several years, and that's the only downside to this. But you got to remember that sound is a big giveaway of a player who could be cheating or not cheating. That's my one tip of the day, is to get a good headset. So as always, I'll leave you on that, and I hope if you have any players you would like to question to me, please leave their player name, player ID, and replay in the thing. And I would like to give you want to give me a brief description of what you saw in this player and see what occurred. If you want to give timestamps, that's great. It will help me give me a kind of an indicator of what you saw in it, what I can explain to you. And if you want me, and I will actually openly comment back to you on what I saw in the replay and go back from there. As always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night, and have a good one.